So today I'm going to be working out on this 2007 Kia Grand Carnival is why the central locking doesn't work. You've got the central locking or the locking mechanism here. When you lock the car, both sides sliding doors, central locking doesn't work. The tailgate works and the doors work. So I'll find out what's going on in here. And another thing I'm going to find out while the doors are apart is what that bit here is for. Because on the other side, this here is staying down, it's not coming back. And there's a stopper here. I don't know if you can see that there. There's a stopper there, so the other door doesn't open all the way and latch. Unless you get your finger in here, unless you get your finger in here and pull that lever back to open the door all the way, then you can open it, yeah, all the way. But if you don't, then it stops here. So I'll find out, I'll pull the other door apart and I'll find out what's going on. Is the power in the door or not, and what will keep this open. I don't really see the purpose of that. But leave in the comments if you know what that there's for. I might even discover what it's for when I pull the other door apart, but at the moment I have no idea. So I'm going to get the door apart first, find out what's going on, and then we'll record a bit more. First thing I'm going to do here is get this handle off. And as you can see, the clip inside there. So easiest way to remove that is to get a cloth in there, slide it in between, it'll catch onto that clip and you can remove that handle. So that's how this clip sits on there. Nice and easy to get that off. So next looks like I've got to get this trim off and the screw behind this point here to remove this panel here. Hopefully it separates. It looks like it does. Separates to the rest of the door. I might not need to go any further than just in here. Okay, so there's two screws in here, one behind here and one behind that panel there. So, and then it just pops off. Let's see what we've got going on behind here. Sticky stuff here. Alright, I'll investigate that a little bit further and I'll continue on from there. Okay, I'm not going to get far from here, on this section right here, purely because I don't know what's behind there. Like this is first time working on a Kia Grand Carnival, so we'll see how we go. That actually looks like same setup as a Toyota Tarago there. Previa. Anyway, just moment pause there. I was just thinking about it might be a good idea to try it out. Anyway, so now I've got one 10mm bolt old screw head from the front, one from the back off, one screw there. There'll probably be another screw behind here. Yes, there's another one there. So remove that. And you do have to be in the car to remove this panel. And somebody's had this off before because there's damage here on the other side of this panel. And it's easily taken off by hand. There was no point for a screwdriver to be in there anyway. And I'll get this, try and get this panel off. I don't think there's going to be any more surprises of screws and so forth. That should all pretty much come off. I think it's just going to pop off, but if I run into any dramas, I'll explain what happened. And there was no more involved in that other than just unclipping it from the door and taking it out. This side here is a bit more tricky because not much room to get your hand in, but needless to say, it's done. So now I'm going to get rid of this, get that off the door and put it somewhere out of my way, so I can have a look at the electronics and see what's going on. There's a connection down here that I could probably test as well for power. Okay, so looking at the workshop manual here, and please excuse any background noise that may happen. It's coronavirus time and anything can happen. But looking at the diagram here, I've tested on the car, and the blue and pink have power, whether you're locking the car or unlocking the car, they get in power. But the yellow and black test grounded. There is no power there at all when I lock or unlock the car. And following where that yellow one goes to, that's coming up to a door locking mechanism, a door lock monitoring switch rather, and it doesn't connect to any relays. It's just a monitoring switch that tells the car whether it's open or whether it's locked or unlocked. The locking itself, the power for locking and unlocking is working, but that switch always says that it's earthed out, whether it's locked or unlocked. So theoretically, well, what should happen is when it's unlocked, that should trip across and the car should know that it's unlocked. And when you're locked, then the car knows it's locked, and it comes across to a status switch as well, which is apparently in the door, that tells the car as well that the door is closed and locked. So if you was to try and lock the car and the door's not shut properly, I guess this would signal to the car and you'd hear a whole bunch of beeping, or the car horn would toot or something that say the door's not closed properly. So what we need to work out is why that's not happening. So I'm going to try and find the relay, locate the relays, find out where they are, and see if the relays are working properly. Okay, there's no real information in the workshop manual. You've got for your buzzers, relays and timers, power sliding door, chime. I don't really care about that, but where you find that in most of the parts is in the back quarter panel where the speakers are. The tailgate would be along the back here, and this is where you got all your power sliding door clutch, power sliding door module, power sliding door chime, another module. This is not showing me the information I want to know. And you got power sliding door left hand and right hand. That's the seats. I clicked on the wrong one. So it just brings me back to this diagram and shows me all that again. Power sliding door motor. Make sure I get the right one. You got slide motor. Front passenger seat, so that's that one there. Oh, you got the slide motor left hand, slide motor right hand. Oh, that's okay for the front seats. Okay. And sliding doors the next two down. So you got in the door here. Hang on, buddy. So you got your anti-pitch, sliding door lock actuator, which is in here. Oh, well, that's how you pointing to there. Yep. So that's in here, and like I said, the pink and blue is getting power when I lock and unlock. So I don't know why the actuator is actually not working, other than I think that the yellow one's being grounded somewhere, and it's telling the door that to stay locked. And that's just a connection switch on the bottom there. That's okay. So the other door would be the same. Yeah, that's just the other side. Sliding door here. Again, back to that other diagram. Power sliding door clutch, which again would bring back to the same diagram. So we've got white, that was a detent switch. You got your latch switch, detent switch. Okay, there's something over here that I didn't know about, so I'll investigate that. These are just connectors, grounds, and that's it. So that's all this has to tell me about what's in the door. And like I said, it's not very useful information, but it's something. And I'll investigate that one switch that I just learnt about. Being that I am in Australia though, and this is an American workshop manual, it may not be the same for me, that is, in Australia. But this could be useful information to somebody that's owns a left-hand drive car. Okay, so I've taken the mechanism out of the car, and it's pretty easy to take out actually. It's just got 4 bolts here, and the clip to the handle just unclips from, you pull it towards you and the top part slides out. I didn't know that when I took it off. I actually took 3 screws out of the handle as well, and took the handle off to find that out. So if you're doing this, you can just pull the bottom of this forwards or towards you and that'll come out, and then slide the top off, and you'll be able to take it off without taking the handle off. Okay, so now I've taken this off. I've ran power directly to the unit myself with a battery, and no response. I've taken 2 screws out from here and here. Take this out, and putting the locking into that position there, I can get that there past this point here and take that out, and that's the part I want to work with to find out why it's not doing its job. So it looks like a sealed unit, so I might have to bust it open, I don't know. There's no physical screw holes anywhere. So if this is the problem, and it goes on both doors, then this is going to be a problem for always. Replace them with new ones, and 5 to 7 years later it's going to fail again. So I want to try and find out why it's not operating. Alright, so with an iron, because my little tiny cutting tools that I normally use are not with me at the moment, so you just use the soldering iron with a point tip just to cut through that. And the problem is the motor. So being a sealed unit, it's got me thinking, what am I going to do to repair this, or what will my solution be? So I'll work that one out, and I'll continue with, this would be a case of, if I can't do it the right way, then I'll do it my way. But you take your own repairs into your own hands. Don't come back onto me and say it didn't work for me. If it works for me, then great, and hopefully it works for you too. That's the goal. Anyway, I'll continue with this, and I will find a solution. Okay, well, this wouldn't have been a complete video if I didn't make the effort to pull this apart and have a look inside. So you can see a little motor in there. It's on the gear, that's expected, that's how it normally works. So this here does tell the door there's a switching mechanism inside there. You can see that in there. There's a mechanism in there that tells the sensors if the door's closed or open. So I'll leave that part of the switch still connected to the car, so that part still functions. The motor is definitely not working. I've put power to this side of the motor. I get nothing out of the motor at all, so the motor's totally stuffed. If you wanted to make the effort to try and repair this, be real careful, especially around this area here. You don't want to damage the gears. Thankfully I didn't, but I could have if I had been too rough with it. Between a hacksaw blade and my soldering iron, I was able to take that top cover off without damaging the inside. So I am not going to go through the effort of repairing this, I don't think. I don't know, I might. I'll go through my little bits and pieces. I've got some remote control cars around. I can go through my bits and pieces, and maybe I'll have a motor the same size. If not, I'm going to go a different way about it. Okay, so I've got the motor out. I've cut that bit there. I will see if I've got a motor to replace this, but turning this, I can feel that it crunches. She's definitely messed up inside. Yeah, there it goes there. Alright, so I will see if I can find a little motor for this and repair the actuator there instead of going for an alternative way, but I'd say there's a part number there, but I'll see what I can find. Okay, so I've taken the gear part off it. I can't find another motor the same size here. My son likes to pull things apart, so I thought he might have a motor that I could have scored off him, but all the motors he's got is smaller than this, and the shafts on it aren't so long. So you can see the edging on that shaft there, how it's like that, and it's well, I'm not really too sure how long that is actually. Anyway, I'm going to pull this apart now and find out what inside stopped it, because I can't turn that by hand without the outer gearing on it. I can't turn that by hand anymore, so I'm going to pull it apart and let's have a look at that final step inside. And there you go. That's motor's definitely kaput. And it would be better to have a brushless motor in here than what's in there, but that was never going to work again. So the same would be the same problem on the other door. So not having another motor, this one's been too far gone to try and even think about repairing. It's time to think outside the box. Okay, so this is day 2 of this process, and it happens to be raining today, so it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, I just happen to have Mitsubishi Magna Virago, I think, TL door locks. Yeah, from the old car I pulled apart, and it happens to be exactly the same connection and functions as the Kia, and you've got so that's all working there. So now I'm going to work out how I can make that work best for me. So chances are, if I was to open up the Magna motor here, the motor that's inside there would be about the same size as what I need here, but the shaft may or may not be the same length. And for this one side exercise, I think I might pull this apart to use the motor out of it and fix the original mechanism to go through that process, and on the other door I'll try and make do a workaround. Alrighty, so this is the one out of the Magna. The motor looks the same, but that end part there, a little bit longer from the Kia. Yeah, so the motor looks the same size, but the shaft part isn't. And I'm about to find that out when I take that off. But this also looks repairable if this ever stopped working, that you could take this apart the same way I did. I cut it around the sides with a hacksaw blade carefully and get inside there and use well, I think the motor's only like $5, so $5 part to fix it. Anyway, I'll take this motor out, and I'll have to cut the other side as well, so I can get to the side that has the terminals, and I'll probably use soldering iron to cut a certain section of that out. That there. So I'll have to, well, power's coming in here from the side of the motor. So obviously it's coming in, going to the back there, so I might not need to cut the other side. I'll see if I can get that motor out and see where we go from there. Okay, so that's the original one with the Magna motor inside it. The shaft wasn't as long, but it's long enough to do the job. So looking at the comparison between the shafts there, the original one is probably about, I don't know, 5 mil, maybe 7 mil longer. But like I said, when I put that gear on it, it does clip into place. It can only go one way, like I said, because it's got the flat part. I can't turn that one. Got the flat part there, and this goes on, and you got a smooth side here and a smooth side on the opposite side. It can go only one way or the other. So if you try to go the flat surface to the flat surface of the motor and it doesn't go, then turn it around 180 and slide it on. And if it goes on, I'll try and show you here. It goes on that far before it requires to be pushed on the rest of the way with that gearing. So just to make that extra more, how would I say that? Just to make sure that that's not going to come off, I'll use a bit of liquid metal, put it on the shaft of the motor, slide that on, and that should never be a problem again. But the problem I do have is this other motor doesn't have the terminal connections that come out. It has pins that go in, and if I can show you that, the pins that you see on the end there. So right there, those pins, they pin into it. So I'm going to try and trim that off carefully as I can, and then I can solder across the top to the connections on the original. So right here, but obviously the opposite side here. Okay, so that's in place now. Put a bit of silicone paste on there just to help with the gearing to move around, and that's how it's situated on the other side. So I'll solder that up in a second. I'll put this side back on, the face back on, and she'll bolt back down. I'm not going to worry about re-gluing around to make it a sealed unit. I'm going to leave it as a unit that can be opened up again later if the motor packs it in again. That it's something that's easy to replace. Okay, so that's it back in, and the 3 screws there hold the cover back on. Like the two screws is what was on there in the first place to hold it onto the mount, but the 3rd screw there I put in, and I left like a hacksaw blade thickness because that's what I used to cut it with. So want to leave that same space. You don't want to screw it down super tight, but even saying that, that rear screw there was separated without using a hacksaw blade, so that's tight. It's screwed down tight there, and even though it's not screwed down as far as it can go, it still feels tight on the screwdriver, so that's alright. And that one there is a slightly larger screw, so it was harder to get in, so that's okay. Alright, so moment of truth, we'll plug it in and see if she works. Okay, that's back in now, and I haven't tried it yet. We're trying it together. Beautiful. I'm going to put this door back together, and then the next bit of footage will be me fixing the other door and seeing if I can work out an alternative way or not. This. Look at that. I love it when a plan works. Okay, well, here's a bit of a disappointment. I was hoping this side here was the same as the other side, that the motor itself is the problem. I can't test that connection at the moment. However, because it's in there, but when I take it out I can test it. That'll be later. There's no power at this plug, and for me to trace it back to this plug here so I can put a meter on it, I can't get in there. So I'm going to have to take this whole side panel out of the back here just to get access to that plug, so I can test the connection between there and see if there's any power over this side here. Now if there isn't, while I've got that side off, I might discover something new like a relay or something, but if not, I'm not going to go through all the drama of trying to find out what the problem is, where the power problem is. I'm going to run two wires from here across the van to the other side and take the power from there. No mucking around with trying to locate relays and so forth, if that's what the problem is, because they should be both on the same circuit anyway. So, pain in the ass. I have to take all those take the seat belts off at the bottom, find where all the screws and so forth are, and get that side panel off to get access to there and find out what's going on. Okay, so I've tested it for meter. The connection from here to here is fine. I've also put power on the plug here, and there's no problems there with running the Magna Mitsubishi door locking mechanism there. But when that's on the car itself, that doesn't work. So this side has two problems. One is there's no power, the other is that mechanism is faulty as well. So what I'm first going to do is work on this to get that working, and then I'm going to just quickly trace back that wiring in case there is a fuse or a relay along here somewhere. I might even check under the hood and the front fuses just to make sure there's nothing wrong there. And then if that's failed, I'm not going any deeper than that. I'm going to run wires underneath the carpet here and get power from the opposite side. Okay, well, I found the problem with the reason why I wasn't getting any voltage. The volts was there, the earth was loose. Somebody's been here behind here before, and there's a few things that were changed in the door itself that I noticed. But why somebody was loose, it was like somebody was starting to pull this van apart before my sister got it. So don't say things can't be done, and if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. You've all heard that before. Check this out. I've ran, there's really nowhere to put this second aftermarket piece anywhere really, because the door panel's flat, but I noticed that this section here folds down. So now I've put that in, and I'm going to make a bracket for this here, but I'm calling it quits for today and quits for this video, because I'm not having to run wires underneath the car anymore, and you already know how to pull the door apart and put it back together. So just showing you the final setup here. So I've got this in place here. I've adjusted this here, so like I've bent it, and I've bent it in a certain way here as well, just so it all slides nicely. So I can do that by hand. This part here, I drilled a hole through the center so I could put that through there, and that's had to come around and bend down like that, and then like that obviously to get through there. And I can reach the door from here. I'll show you. That's working beautiful. So if I had to do this again, I probably would. The tricky part is you have to watch out for this window rail here, because this window does come down. So you've got to work in behind this here. So I've had to unbolt the bottom just to push that out, and so I can get a nut and bolt in through here to tighten that down. That is very firm on the one. That there is to stop the arm dropping down, and this here guide here is to stop the arm going up. But I've also got this here that's stopping the arm going up, so it's just more just a guide really, and that's not going to come out there. So that there is a finished product, and it's nice and tucked in with the door there, nice and flush, so it's not going to be a problem with putting the trim back on. Now where to put the key? And also you can see that, get rid of that thing, and also you can see the window opens and closes. Oh, wrong door. There's no problems there. Lock and unlock. So that's unlocked at the moment. I'll lock it. Unlock. Beautiful. Okay, well I can put the car back together now and finish up. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. If you learnt something, awesome. If you didn't, watch the video again. Please subscribe, and there'll be more videos on this van while I'm fixing it up. Alright, thanks for watching guys. Cheers.